Starting off this list, we got number 10, DaBaby. Rapper DaBaby has been going through a cancellation after he made some homophobic comments while performing. While he was on stage, the rapper said in part, quote, "If you didn't show up today with HIV/AIDS, any of them deadly STDs, that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, put your cell phone light up." Adding that ladies can put their cell phone lights up if their privates, quote, "smell like water." Going on to make derogatory comments about men hooking up in the parking lot. After those comments were made, the rapper faced backlash from fellow performers as well as fans. The rapper was supposed to be headlining the final day of Lollapalooza, but after the comments, the festival dropped him, along with a number of other festivals since then. DaBaby has made countless statements, seemingly apologies, since the incident, but none have felt very sincere, so his career has taken a big hit. And at number 9, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe broke the internet when it was revealed that an unedited photo of her was going viral online. Even worse, after the photo started to gain traction, Khloe got lawyers involved and hired an entire team to scour the internet to remove the photo. But obviously you can't stop the internet from spreading things around, and the harder that Khloe tried to remove the photo, the bigger the story got. The photo in question shows Khloe in a bikini by a pool without any makeup or airbrushing. After the story got too big to ignore, Khloe's camp released a statement saying, quote, "The color edited photo was taken of Khloe during a private family gathering and posted to social media without permission by mistake by an assistant." However, we learned later that her grandma MJ is actually the one that posted the photo, so that makes everything just even more sad. And at number 8, Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Spears has been getting dragged online recently, with Britney's fans attacking her. After Britney recently made a lot of negative comments about her family, even specifically calling out Jamie Lynn in some of them, it's clear Britney despises her entire family, including her younger sister. After Jamie Lynn started getting hate, she responded, quote, "Maybe I didn't support her the way the public would like me to with a hashtag on a public platform, but I can assure you that I've supported my sister long before there was a hashtag, and I'll support her long after." But Britney has been clapping back. In one caption, Britney wrote, quote, "I don't like that my sister showed up at an awards show and performed my songs to remixes. My so-called support system hurt me deeply. This conservatorship killed my dreams." Jamie Lynn recently posted a video of herself crying to her Instagram. In the audio, you can hear her 3-year-old daughter comforting her, which has been called very cringy because it kind of is. And at number 7, Frenemies. Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas were classic frenemies. Their relationship started off with them hating one another, but over time they blossomed to be basically best friends. Their dynamic was so interesting to watch, they even created a podcast together called Frenemies. The podcast was extremely successful, but their friendship didn't last long, and it seemed that Trisha would quit the podcast every month. After the 3rd time Trish quit, Ethan had enough and cut her from the podcast. Ethan is still doing the podcast, but now with his family instead, calling it Families. And at number 6, Kanye West. Kanye West has been hyping up the release of his latest album called Donda, and all of his fans were incredibly excited for new music. But that excitement has faded now that Kanye has delayed the album 2 weeks in a row. Kanye keeps having listening parties for the album to announce the release, but before he does, he decides to delay it another week to perfect it. Kanye's even went so far as to live in Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium while he's working on it. He now says he refuses to leave until the album is complete, and since has posted a photo of his new digs on Instagram, it seems that he's sticking by his word. Kanye now claims the album will be released this Friday, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Halfway at number 5, Ace Family lawsuits. The Ace family is currently caught up in multiple lawsuits. Austin's boxing company, Social Gloves, was being sued for not paying fighters for their boxing event. Then a company that partnered with Social Gloves on the event, Live X Live, sued Austin for a whopping $100 million for defamation. This is most likely relating to Austin's earlier statement that the reason boxers were not being paid was because Live X Live was withholding the funds. To refresh you on the McBroom family's other lawsuits, Austin's company Ace Hat Productions is also getting sued, along with Catherine, Austin's wife, being sued by one of her former business partners over their beauty products. On top of all of this, apparently the couple is also being evicted from their $7 million mansion. Apparently they haven't been paying their mortgage either. And at number 4, Courtney Love. Courtney Love decided to go after music's new it girl, Olivia Rodrigo, and Courtney definitely embarrassed herself in the process. After Olivia posted some photos to promote her Sour Prom, Courtney felt the photos were very similar to her band Hole's album cover, and made sure Olivia knew. Courtney shared a side-by-side of Olivia's photo and the album cover, with the caption, quote, "Spot the difference, hashtag twinning." Rodrigo responded in the comments, quote, "Love you and lived through this so much." But I guess Olivia didn't seem to get the memo, so Love added, quote, Olivia, you're welcome. My favorite florist is in Notting Hill, London. DM me for deets. I look forward to reading your note. Essentially saying that Kourtney was looking for some sort of apology. Kourtney responded to some other comments on the photo saying that she's not mad, but it was just in bad taste and rude of Olivia. I think someone needs to tell Kourtney that she doesn't own the prom girl aesthetic, especially since the movie Carrie basically did it first. At least I think so. And at number 3, Matt Damon. Matt Damon just had a case of instant regret. Basically, during an interview, he shared a story about how his daughter urged him to stop using the F slur as it's homophobic. Damon claims that he only used it as a joke and never in a harmful manner, but that his daughter's words resonated with him, so he decided to stop. But that instantly backfired, with people calling out the star for ever saying it in the first place. So then the actor tried to clear the air and clarify that he never actually said the F word in the first place, he only heard it back when he was a kid. Damon said, quote, "I've never called anyone the F slur in my personal life, and this conversation with my daughter was not a personal awakening. I do not use slurs of any kind." But I don't really think anyone believes that's true. And at number 2, Chrissy Teigen. If you guys remember, Chrissy Teigen went through a massive cancellation after it was revealed that she bullied multiple other celebrities over the years, even coming after children at some points. All of her and her tweets were incredibly disgusting and made the entire internet turn on her. Chrissy decided to leave the internet for an undisclosed amount of time to reflect on her words and actions. But the time that she decided to take away only turned out to be a measly 23 days. She couldn't even pretend that she was actually going to change her ways and work on herself. Her return to the internet was not taken well, and many of her fans have stopped supporting her. And finally, at number 1, Jensen Karp. You might recall the infamous shrimp tails that were found in a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch covered in the cinnamon. The man who posted it to the internet, Jensen Karp, is a comedian and was a public figure already, but after the viral tweet, his fame exploded. People even learned he was once married to Topanga from Boy Meets World. After the internet exposed the alleged shrimp tails, the world was in a debate over whether or not the whole thing was real. But that quickly changed when multiple women came forward, showing that Jensen was a toxic and manipulative partner who is a known liar. Nobody knows what happened to the alleged shrimp tails, but his reputation took a huge hit. And at number 10, Erika Jayne and Tom Girardi. Erika Jayne and her husband Tom Girardi were beloved cast members of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, until Erika filed for divorce and everyone saw just how shady the two actually were. Tom was one of the most respected lawyers ever, until recently when it was exposed that he stole money from his clients. Even worse, his clients were victims of terrible crimes, so he was stealing from people that desperately needed the money. At this time, we don't know how involved Erika was with his scams, and we don't know if she knew money that they were using was stolen. However, it was reported that her own company, called EJ Global, got $20 million from Tom, and apparently this was dirty money. This could lead to a paper trail where it becomes clear that Erika was involved and used stolen money to fund her lavish life. And at number 9, Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya dropped Jaws when he won the award for the Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Judas and the Black Messiah at the 2020 Oscars, but not in the way that he hoped. Obviously, after he won the award, he was ecstatic and was overwhelmed while giving his acceptance speech. But near the end of the speech, it kinda went off the rails, and he spoke about how everyone should be celebrating life, and the fact that we're all breathing and walking, calling it incredible. Then he added, quote, "My mom met my dad, they had sex, it's amazing." The best part was that at that point, the camera panned to his mother and sister, who looked shocked and horrified about what he just said. Thankfully, it was hilarious, but I'm sure he had some regrets after the fact. And at number 8, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Ashton and Mila stirred up a huge debate when they went on the Armchair Expert podcast and revealed they don't wash their two kids, quote, unless they can see dirt on them. Ashton said, quote, "If you can see dirt on them, clean them. Otherwise, there's no point." Mila says this came from her childhood, where she didn't shower much because they were poor and she didn't always have hot water as a kid. So this then translated over to her adult life. Ashton says that he washes his, quote, armpits and crotch daily and nothing else ever. But after his revelation sparked a lot of backlash online, Kristen Bell came out in support of their stance. She revealed that her and Dax also do not wash their kids very much. Apparently they, quote, "are a big fan of waiting for the stink." I guess it's up for interpretation if their bathing habits are fail or not. And at number 7, Sia. Sia's first directorial debut, Music, might have ruined her entire movie career. The movie was released in February of 2021, and even before its release, it was already getting widespread criticism. The film is about an autistic girl who was brought under the care of her half-sister after the passing of their mother. Originally, it faced backlash for casting Maddie Ziegler to play Music in the film when she was not autistic. But after its release, it was criticized for not accurately portraying those on the autism spectrum, as well as showing harmful and dangerous restraint methods in the film that were widely condemned by those in the community. In response to all the outrage, Sia ended up deactivating her social media accounts. And at number 6, Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey was called out for being tone deaf after she responded to the lack of diversity on her album cover. It all started when she posted a photo of the album cover for Chemtrails Over the Country Club, alongside a caption describing it as beautiful music amid turmoil and upheaval. After the post, there were some comments calling out the lack of diversity on the album cover, as it shows Lana with many of her friends in a black and white photo. Lana responded in a lengthy comment. In part, she said that the people on the cover are her good friends, and many of them are people of color, adding that she's always been very inclusive. But things went south when she stated that, quote, "My best friends are rappers. My boyfriends have been rappers." I guess equating being a rapper to not being white. These comments got tons of hate, accusing Lana of white fragility and being very tone deaf. Halfway at number 5, Reese Witherspoon. This one is potentially a fail depending on how you look at it. Reese Witherspoon started her production company Hello Sunshine so that women's voices and stories could be heard in the media, and her production company has had great success, churning out successful projects like Big Little Lies, The Morning Show, and Little Fires Everywhere. However, Reese recently announced that she sold Hello Sunshine for upwards of $900 million to another media company, which got tons of backlash, especially after it was revealed that the people running this new media company are 2 men, who were also backed by the Blackstone Group, which is definitely against the mission of the company, which was to elevate women's voices and have women dictate how they are portrayed in the media. And at number 4, Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner is looking very shady now that she's being sued by Italian fashion brand Lujo for not showing up to her photo shoots. In the lawsuit, it says that Kendall did not fulfill her contractual obligations to the company after she didn't attend a photo shoot last year. Kendall was supposed to be paid $1.5 million in exchange for 2 photo shoots with the brand, and she was already paid $1.35 million in 2020 after she attended the first shoot in 2019. But the second shoot in 2020 was pushed back due to the pandemic, and the suit, it claims that Kendall did not respond to, quote, urgent requests and communications on numerous occasions when the brand tried to reschedule the shoot. To make matters worse, the suit comes on the heels of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians reunion, where Kendall tried to refute the claims her modeling career was handed to her. And at number 3, Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas is always getting in drama, but usually their loyal fans never waver in support. However, after Trisha's most recent feud with Ethan Klein, it seems the internet has turned on them. To make things worse, Trisha recently revealed that they were going on Keemstar's podcast called Mom's Basement. This was a big no-no to fans of H3 Productions because Ethan and Keemstar are sworn enemies. After it was revealed that Trish was collabing with Ethan's enemy, the internet had a lot to say. In the replies of the announcement tweet, people are calling her out for betraying Ethan and his crew. Many even pointed out the strain this could have on her fiance Moses' family because he is related to Ethan. Ethan even responded himself, tweeting, quote, "I'm not even gonna front or try and be funny, this just really makes me sad." And at number 2, Demi Lovato and Tana Mongeau kiss. This is a fail depending on who you ask, but I personally thought it was pretty cringy. These two attended the premiere event for Paris Hilton's new Netflix show, Cooking with Paris. And while at the premiere, they decided to record a TikTok of them kissing, if you can even call it that. Because basically Tana just sticks her mouth in Demi's mouth. The caption on the video is, quote, "How we are off camera 24/7. And the audio asks the question, quote, "Why does everyone think we hooked up?" With the pair clearly joking around and making us think that they are hooking up. The comments under the video were pretty savage, with people telling Tana to quit dating Disney stars, as well as people calling Tana out for always putting her tongue in other people's mouths. Tana and Demi clearly had fun with all the attention, but I think we as a society need to stop giving people clout for just kissing videos like this. They are so annoying. And finally, number 1, Gabby Hanna. Gabby Hanna released a docuseries recently trying to address all the hate against her on the internet, but she managed to make things way worse for herself, specifically when she brought up the Escape the Night drama. In Gabby's video, she tried to make it look like the creators of her series, Joy Graceffa and Danielle Preda, treated her horribly, but they ended up making response videos to prove that Gabby was the real nightmare on set. One point of contention was about the food that Gabby was served while on set. She apparently threw a fit over the fact that the crew did not give her food that met her dietary restrictions. restrictions. However, Joey exposed that she didn't even bother to fill out the form for her meals beforehand, so they had no idea that she had these strict dietary restrictions. But they still personally brought her food to accommodate her, even though she never ended up eating it. Apparently Gabby also had a problem with her costume not fitting, but again, she didn't show up for the fittings. There were also shoot days where Gabby refused to show up because she didn't like her call time, clearly proving who the real problem was.
In at number 10, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian took to Twitter on March 23rd to express the importance of social distancing while simultaneously not social distancing. A true facepalm moment if I've ever seen one. You can see in the back of that screenshot is Kim's mom, Kris. Now, while they are social distancing in the room, the governor in California declared a complete lockdown, and I doubt Kris Jenner lives at her daughter's house. Kim also ignored the rules in LA by allowing Kylie Jenner to come over and do her makeup, something that she said while appearing on The View. The comment section on that video was filled with people calling her out for blatantly breaking the social distancing rule. Then to distract from that mess, she began calling out Taylor Swift. Kardashian tweeted, "At Taylor Swift has chosen to reignite an old exchange that at this point in time feels very self-serving given the suffering millions of real victims are facing right now," which people saw through right away. As you can see, Venus Envy replying with, "She really tried to pull a Kim, there's people that are dying." She has officially become her own meme. In at number 9, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is worth a staggering $29.5 billion. You would think with the amount of resources this man has, he would at least try to, lend a hand? Nope, instead he's busy tweeting at the Apple support page for assistance. He's worth $29.5 billion. He then decided to drop some more much needed guidance with this tweet. "Fear is the mind killer. Gee, thanks. Tell that to the people that are in desperate need of a respirator to stay alive." He was approached, by the way, to make more respirators, but he said that by the time he could make them, this thing will already be over, which is a wrong message to send to your company, and he's doing it all over the place. He still has some of his factories even open during lockdown. Tesla Motors remained open well into the lockdown of most major cities, and then on top of that, he was tweeting that the panic over the virus was dumb. No, what's dumb is downplaying a virus so that you can keep making money. Big celebrity fail right there. In at number 8, Priyanka Chopra. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, Priyanka Chopra Jones has solved the pandemic. We just needed her to clap from her balcony. It's truly mind-boggling to me the fact that she wanted to do that, and then the fact that she filmed it to glorify herself. Although she may have good intentions, this celebrity fail turned into a backlash real quick. People were making fun of Nick Jonas even because he probably had to film this cringe fest, and they were saying that her clapping into an open field is the new mood of 2020. The most accurate response to this celebrity fail was this tweet that said, "People are dying and Priyanka Chopra just out here clapping. Crying face emoji indeed." In at number 7, Renee Zellweger. Going back to a time before the pandemic for a moment here, while Renee was accepting her award for Best Actress for the film Judy, Zellweger was delivering strong at first. She did the usual acknowledging of her fellow nominees, the full rundown of names that helped her, her team, her co-stars, you know the deal. Although typically when stars win for biopics, they usually are expected to speak rationally about the person that they were portraying. But instead she went on about Neil Armstrong and Serena Williams, which have nothing to do with the movie that she just focused on about the tragic last months of Judy Garland's life. From there, she tried to bring it back around to the iconic actress that was the film's core, but it was excruciating to watch. People were especially upset with this celebrity failure because Garland faced a ton of abuse and neglect within the industry, so overall it was just seen as a missed opportunity to confront bigger issues. In at number 6, Joaquin Phonenix. At the Oscars this year, Joaquin Phonenix took home the award for Best Actor for his role as the Joker. It was a speech that baffled and broke the internet as the star-studded crowd applauded his virtue signaling. He acknowledged how conflicted he was about his privilege. He then stumbled his way through listing all of the causes we should be supporting, doing his best not to forget a single one. Everything from lack of diversity in the industry to gender inequality, racism, and queer rights. Then suddenly he veered into the artificial insemination of cows. What now? Of course, it was eventually going to arrive at that because of how much of a committed environmentalist and vegan he is, although it got even more bizarre when he started comparing human injustices to stealing milk from a cow. Once he got off of that track, he started admitting all of his faults, which made me realize this speech could have probably used some more rearranging. Maybe start with your faults and then tell me how you're gonna fight for for climate change and how that fixed you. It was especially jarring considering the criticism for the Joker, many of which called it a defense of white male rage. So perhaps he was trying to overcompensate with this speech, but either way, it was quite the train wreck to watch. In at number 5, Eminem. The rapper from Detroit was sagging his pants a little too low for this surprise performance at the Oscars. While on Hotboxing with Mike Tyson, Eminem shared that midway through his performance, the mic pack that feeds him the sound was suddenly swinging in between his legs. It was supposed to be a moment that would speak to the power of music and cinema, which some argued made a strong case for silent films as Eminem performed his 2002 track Lose Yourself in the movie 8 Mile. To distract from his mic issues, the camera cut away to the audience, which didn't exactly help. Most of them looked confused as if they were watching their dad rapping, while others decided it was a good time to take a nap. I'm looking at you, Martin Scorsese. In at number 4, Amber Heard. This is definitely one of the more messier fails on this list. It has so many twists and turns that at some points you wonder who to believe anymore. Just recently I saw 2 articles side by side that one said Elon Musk gets dragged into Amber Heard's cheating scandal. And then you're like, ooh, Amber Heard's bad. And then another one that said Johnny Depp wanted to kill her all along. You're like, Johnny. Let's just say that both failed because of how public this breakup was. It was just way too public. This should have been a quick mention on TMZ and that's it. But instead it turned into a battle of secret recordings, domestic violence, and overall some very toxic behavior on both sides. After Amber wrote that op-ed about how terrible Johnny Depp was to her, he then sued her for defamation. Looking to clear her name, she hired a private investigator, someone that had a long resume of successful finds too. The PI followed Depp wherever he went, and not only that, but he interviewed a lot of people who either worked closely with him or knew him personally. Not a single person had a bad word to say about him, and instead most of Depp's colleagues ranted about how terrible Amber Heard was. Big backfire for her case and a big money waste all at the same time. Like buying a BMW. In at number 3, Jeffree Star. Jeffree is no stranger to online feuds. He's gone to war on Twitter with some of the top celebrities, with his Kat Von D feud lasting more than a decade. Now he has set his sights on 10-year-old Mason Disick. To be fair, Mason decided to fire first, but at the end of the day, he's 10 years old. So you would think that fact would have made Jeffree stop from retaliating, but nope. Mason's parents, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick, wanted to boost their son to influencer status, so they let the kid just go live on Instagram, which is so crazy and irresponsible. How weird is this world now? You have Addison Rae, a TikTok star, basically babysitting Mason Disick through Instagram Live as he goes off on different celebrities. He called Jeffree Star spoiled AF, to which Jeffree Star replied in a now deleted tweet, "I had $5 in my bank account 6 years ago. Maybe he's confused with his own privilege versus mine being self-made. Hopefully his father can educate him soon." Okay, Jeffree, he's 10. Secondly, I guarantee he only made that comment because he saw that James Charles had entered the chat. That's definitely that's why. In at number 2, Gwyneth Paltrow. With Trump telling 3M to stop distributing their masks to Canada and Latin America so that Americans can have them, you know they must be hurting. The reason why they said for the average person not to buy a mask is because there was already a shortage, and most of them need to be used for healthcare workers and people that are being exposed to this every day. Hence the government just telling you to stay home instead. But try telling that to the owner of Goop. Paltrow posted this selfie saying, "En route to Paris, paranoid, prudent, panic, placid, pandemic, propaganda. Paltrow's just going to go ahead and sleep with this thing on the plane. I've already been in this movie. Stay safe, don't shake hands." And here's where it all begins to backfire. Paltrow threw on the mask and other protective gear for another Instagram post about going to a local farmer's market, to which Dr. Jen Gunter replied, "Why do you need gloves and a mask? Isn't your immune boosting supplement that you were promoting at the start of the flu season effective?" Whew. Big fail when you get trumped, for lack of a better word, by a doctor in your comment section. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, K-pop. With everyone on lockdown, we all braced ourselves as April Fool's Day approached, and no one wanted to be pranked because it felt as if we were already in the middle of some sick joke. The last person we would ever have imagined to pull off a prank on this day was a K-pop star, that's for sure. South Korean singer and actor Kim Jae-joon decided it would be a hilarious prank to tell his followers that he had been infected by the virus as a result of his negligence. He goes on to say that a person's individual actions can have such a big impact on society as a whole. Then he apologizes to all of those who have been infected because of him, closing out with, "My foolish judgment to live as though it couldn't happen to me is why I am like this today." This quote-unquote prank didn't stop there though. He continued in another post saying that he was currently hospitalized, and to make matters worse, he even said that it wasn't an April Fool's joke, adding that his family and friends are getting sick and dying. So he says all of that, and then at the end of the day he goes, "April Fools, ha!" I made you all think you and I were dying. Not funny. Not funny at all. It's not funny. Not too long after that, his entire fan base took over social media to have a hashtag Jejung is over party. Rightfully so.
One user said Lily Singh made Amy Schumer look like the funniest comedian that ever existed. I mean, I don't want to rag on Amy Schumer. I don't think she's that bad, but Lily Singh's show was quite terrible, and I actually was somewhat of a fan of Lily's beforehand. And Ari said Andy Dick had fans. I really don't even know much about Andy Dick, so I'm not even going to comment on that. I just thought that was very funny. Then Geek Chic said a cousin of mine interviewed Andy Dick for her work. She said that he was very pervy towards her, and she also added that he acted just like his last name. So two, bad Andy Dick, reviews. Clearly, there's something going on with him. Ismail said, Mackenzie is back here again. Yes. It's like, I think me, Brie, and Joss were on the channel mostly, yeah. Then Chris Brown, lol, said, Mackenzie, who's your favorite celebrity you want to meet? Probably should have thought of this before I put this in here. The thing with me, I don't even really care about celebrities very much. I like influencers a lot more, but one celebrity I really like and respect as an actress is Jessica Chastain. I think she's a beautiful, lovely, wonderful actress. Then Duke said, Mackenzie's hot. Thank you, needed that today, Duke.